Okay, let's create the icon right here. So when we are on the mobile, let's make it smaller. So to do that, go to your img and give it a class of logo, because we want to reference this image. So just go to responsive and inside mobile. So since it is a class, then logo, then we want to reduce its size. So set it width to about 180 pixel and just refresh. Okay, looking great. Now we need an icon right here. Let's reduce how it looks. Okay, fine. We need an icon right here. So to make the icon, go to index.html, and after this a tag, let's create a button. The type will be button, and inside button, let's give it a class that is nav toggler, and inside button write create 3 span. I'll tell you later why I'm creating these 3 spans. Okay, now let's write some CSS for the button. Okay, since the button is before the nav, I want to write its CSS before the nav. So for the button, I want its height to be 40 pixel and its width to be 45 pixel, and I want the border to be 1 pixel, solid and white color. So just save it and refresh. Okay, fine, we can see the button right here, but I don't want the background inside it, so set the background to none. Now save it and refresh it again. Okay, fine. Now I want to tell you that why I created 3 spans inside this, because I want to create 3 lines inside it, so it looks like the menu button, as you have already seen in many of the websites or in any of the applications. So press enter, and for the span that is inside the button, okay, instead of button we need to write btn toggler, because we want to reference the button that is only on the that only have the class btn toggler. So for the span inside the btn toggler, we want to specify some CSS. That is, we want to set it, we want to display it as a block, and we want to set its height to 4 pixel and background to white. Let's save and refresh. Okay, sorry, what is the problem? Okay, not btn toggler, the class name is nav toggler. Okay, fine, but I want to have little bit spacing between them, so I can give the margin top to these spans. So since these spans are one after another, we can use the same as we used in the li. So we don't want the margin on the top portion, we just want the margin on other sections. So go to style.css and write toggle span plus span margin top of 5 pixel. Save it and refresh it. Okay, looking fine. Let's have some spacing. So for the nav toggler, give it a padding of 8 pixel on the all of the sides. Since I write single value, it will be applied on all top, right, bottom and left. So just refresh it. Okay, looking great. But I want to tell you that this nav toggler should be placed on the right, so it needs to be floated on the right. So how I can do this is go to index.html and I can add the class that I have already created, that is float right. Just save it and refresh. Okay, still not perfect, but why? Let's see. In the here you can see the column is floated left, so it is creating a problem. This column has just this width, it does not needs to be floated when we are in the mobile. So go to responsive.css and for the column inside the header, so I want to reference the column inside the header like this, and I want to set it float to none and just refresh. Okay, now looking perfect. Since the column has full width, the button is on the right and it is looking exactly perfect. So but in the mobile, I want these menu items to be in the list and not in the one after another like inline block element. So since we have, so right click and inspect the button, and if we see the CSS right here, we have specified the display inline block, so we don't need this in mobile. So just copy this and below it write down for the nav yala and nav a in mobile, we want to display them as a block. So save it and refresh it. Okay, looking fine, but it still seems there is problem. The problem is we have specified the margin left for the nav yali plus yali. So copy this, and for the nav yali plus yali, we want to set the margin left 0. Just save it and refresh it. Okay, looking great, but these are a little bit closer. We want to give a spacing. So what I can do this is, for the second element and all the elements below it, I want to give it a margin top. So for nav yali plus yali, instead of specifying the margin left just 0, I can specify like this. For the top part, I want to give 10 pixel margin, and for the right and left I want 0, and for the bottom also I want 0. So I can write in 3 places. So just refresh it. Okay, now looks perfect, but this button needs to have text at the center, and I think it would look much better. So how I can do this is, I can go and specify the text align center to button, because for every button we want the text to be centered. So we can set the text align to center for the button. So just press Ctrl R to refresh, or you can click right here. Okay, it's looking great, but I want to tell you that, okay, here comes a problem. You can see that this text is going above this header, but we don't want this to go above it, since this is positioned absolute, and so that it has z index value greater than this. So we need to specify the z index value. Z index value helps to position the absolute or fixed elements to appear on the top of other elements. So for the header, I want to set the z index value to maybe, let's say, 5. Okay, just go and refresh it. Now you can see that it is going behind it, so it is perfect. Now we don't want this navigation to appear when we are in the mobile. We want just this button to appear, and when we click this button we want this navigation to expand. So we don't want this to appear when we are in the mobile. So go to responsive.css, and inside mobile we want to hide the nav. So go to nav, and okay, you can write this CSS right here. So for nav, I want to say when it is on mobile, I want to set its display to none. Okay, just save it and refresh it. Okay, looking great for now, but still when we click it does not does anything. So, and also I want to tell you that the text is looking very bigger in the mobile, so let's reduce its size. So for the S2 inside the caption, inside mobile, I want to set its font size to, let's say, just 30 pixel. Just refresh it. Okay, maybe it's looking okay. Just close it, and let's see if we have a smaller mobile. Okay, right now it is looking like that. Okay, maybe it looks little bit much more smaller. Let's give it a size of 35 pixel and refresh it. Okay, now 35 pixel looks better for me. Okay, just resize it and refresh. Okay, in the desktop view we don't want this to be displayed, so what we can do is we can set the nav toggler to display none initially, none, and when we are in the mobile we want it to be displayed. So we can write the CSS right here using comma, because it has the same CSS and we can reuse this CSS. So just save it and it is gone, and when we are mobile it also appears. So it is looking great, but we still don't have the functionality that when we click it, it is not going to expand, because we need some events for this, and for this we are going to use jQuery, and I'll tell that later when we finish the designing. So let's leave it for as it is for now, and let's move to the next section. Okay, now we can create our about section. So to create about section, you can see that in the about section we have our section header, and we have some content on the left and content on the right section or right column. We are going to place these content inside two columns. So let's start our coding. So go to index.html, and since we have completed the home section, I want to write a comment so that we can know the end of the home section. So I want to write a comment like slash and hash home. Since it is ID, I am using hash just to write a comment. So control slash to make it a comment, and then I want to add another section. So I want to use the HTML section tag. I want to put it inside the HTML section tag, because HTML section tag is generally used to put some content that has heading and some paragraphs. So I have heading and I have some paragraphs in this section, so I want to place it inside section tag, and inside section I want to have my section header. So let's create a section header. Before that, I want to put a container inside my section so that I'll have the 15 pixel padding on both sides. So create a class of div with the class of container inside it, and I want to give a ID of about to this about section, and in the container I want to add a div with the class section header. So inside section header I want to put heading, that is about, and after heading I want to create a subheading. So I'll write the div with the class subheading, and inside subheading I want to put my subheading. So just click it, select all, Ctrl C to copy, and now go back and paste it. Okay, you can see that the color of subheading is 999, and also you can see that we have about 85 pixel spacing on the top, and on the bottom also we have about maybe 80 pixel spacing. So I can set the 85 pixel padding on the top and 80 pixel padding on the bottom. I am using padding instead of margin because if I use margin, and since I am going to set these values for all the sections like about, portfolio and contact, since in portfolio I want to use background right here. So if I give margin instead of padding, then the background will not be applied in this section because the background is not applied in the margin area. So I want to make it a padding. So let's go to our HTML page and go to style.css and let's write some CSS. So I'm going to write some CSS that will be common for all the sections. So I want to create a section called common section CSS, and just Ctrl/ to make it a comment so that I can understand this part will contain the common section CSS. So I want to give the section with the padding of 85 pixel on the top, and on the left and right I don't want any padding, and on the bottom I want the padding of 80 pixel. So now for the section header, I want to put my text inside the center. So since it is a class, I want to reference it using the dot sign, and for the section header I want the text align to be center. Okay, now just save it and refresh our page. Okay, looking great, but this text needs to be uppercase. So I want to put my yes2 tag to be uppercase. So I can specify here the text transform to uppercase. So this is also applied to the anchor tag of nav. So right here we have also written the text transform to uppercase. Since it is getting this CSS from the top, we don't need to specify right here. Okay, and for the subheading I want to specify the color of #999. So just save it and refresh it. Okay, looks great. Now we need 2 columns inside our about section. So inside about section, after the section header, I want to create a row so that we can put our column inside it, and I want to create 2 columns, and inside column, so just copy and paste on this line to create a 2 column, and inside first column I need to put my image and some text right here. So first of all I need my image, so just click in this icon and click on the image and go to this layer 4 and control click on this layer so that our image is only selected. Now go to image and crop it and go to file and save the image, and inside images folder save it as a, maybe you can save profile picture, and save it as a JPG file. Press Ctrl Alt Z to go back to your original state. Press Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, we also need the height and width of this image, so just control click on this layer again and you can see we have height and width of 224 pixel. So we need to create IMG tag, so type IMG and tab key so that it will automatically generate the IMG tag for you. So inside source we need to specify the image, so we have image on the images folder. Since we are working on the index file, we can directly access the images folder and the file. So the relative path will be images / profile picture.jpg and give it a width of 224 and height of 224, and alternative text will be just you can write your name like this. Just save it and refresh the page. Okay, looks great. Now you can see that we have some border around the image and some shadow around the image. So go to this layer, right click and go to blending option, then go to stroke, then you can see we have 6 pixel white stroke and drop shadow is of 3 pixel. So click OK and go back right here, and we can specify some CSS for this image. So as you know that the same style will be also needed for these images. So what we can do is, instead of writing just CSS for this image, I can specify a class and I will later use that class for the images in the portfolio section. So give it a class of img thumb. So copy this class, save it, and you can write some CSS for img thumb. Since this class is a generic class, because we can use this class anywhere, so I want to write the CSS for img thumb right here. So I can reference it using the dot sign, and I can specify the border of 6 pixel solid and the color will be white. And now also the drop shadow, since in CSS we specify the shadow using box shadow, so write the box shadow, and we need to specify the box shadow horizontally and vertically. So the distance horizontally will be 0 and vertically will be 0, and then the blur size of the box shadow, the blur size of the shadow will be 3 pixel, and then the color will be black. So #00 is the color code of the black, and just save it and refresh. Okay, looking great. Now we need to put our text right here. Before that, I want to tell you that we have 2 columns inside this about section, and we need to have some width of these columns. So as you know that this is the center line, but I have a little bit bigger width for this left portion and some smaller width for this right section. So to give it a width, I can specify some class. I'll specify a class of col left to this section, and for this column I want to specify col right. So this is left column and this is right column. So for the left column of the about, I want to write some CSS. So since it is a CSS that will be only needed in the about section, I want to write it in a different section like about CSS, and Ctrl/ to make it a comment, and I can write my CSS for about section right here. Since I want to reference only the column of about section, because col left and col right may be used later for other sections also, so I don't want to reference all the columns, so I just want to reference the column of about section. So for the col left inside about, I want its width to be about maybe let's say 60%, and for the col right, so copy this and paste it, and for the col right I want to have width of 40%, so total will be 100%. So refresh it and let's see the total width. Okay, when you hover over this col left, you can see the size of this col left, and it's looking great for me. So now we need to add this heading and this tagline right here. So as I already told you that this is the most important text, so I want to place it in the h1 tag, and let's measure the size of this text. Just click over it and you can see that is maybe 30 pixel, so click OK. And since I want to use h1 tag, I'll write h1 and font size will be 30 pixel. Since it is a heading, I want to write its CSS right before the h2 tag. So after image I can place my heading, so create a h1 tag and I can write my name. Just save it and refresh the page. Okay, now you can see your name right here and it is looking great, but this text needs to be right here. So the easiest way to fix this is we need to float this image on the left. So go to img and add a class of float left that we have already created in our CSS file right here, that floats the content to the left. So we can add that class and just refresh it. Okay, looking great, but we need to have some spacing right here, so let's measure the spacing. So just measure the spacing. The spacing is about 30 pixel on the top, and on the bottom maybe 20 pixel. So let's give some CSS to the img of col left. So go to about section, and for the col left img thumb, I can reference using this. Then I want to give margin to this, and the margin will be 0 pixel on the top and 30 pixel will be on the right, and on the bottom it will be 20 pixel, and on the left it will be 0. So I need to specify like that. Now just refresh it and it is looking great, but you know that there needs to be some spacing. You can see the spacing right here. Just measure this spacing and it is about nearly equal to 90 pixel. So what I can do is, for the section header I can give it a margin bottom of 90 pixel. Okay, just save and refresh, and looking great. But also for this heading I need to have some spacing on the top, so the spacing will be about maybe 60 pixel. So for the h1 tag of column left, so I can reference it using dot col left, or okay, dot col left h1 tag. I want to have margin top of 60 pixel. Now just save and refresh, and okay, it is looking great. Now we need to add our tagline right here. So just copy our tagline, and now come back, and in index.html after h1 create a div and just paste our tagline, and now refresh, and okay, looking great. Now we need to add some paragraph, so just select this paragraph, Control C to copy, and now I want to write paragraph. So maybe I can create a div with the class of description. So I want to put a lot of paragraph right here, so maybe creating a div with the class may be great idea. So create a paragraph, press P and tab key, then put your text right here and just refresh. Okay, we need to have some spacing right here, so either you can use margin or maybe you can also use the HTML break tag. So you can write BR or maybe 2BR. Just type BR and tab keys, it will automatically generate the BR tag in Sublime Text. So maybe 2BR will be okay, it looks perfect. Now let's add some more paragraph. Just copy this text, and again I want to create another paragraph below this paragraph. So create a P tag and paste your text, and now just refresh. Okay, looks good, but as you can see we have the text too close, so I can increase the line height of the text. So for the paragraph I want to define a line height, so it will be necessary for all the paragraphs. So I want to specify right here after the body. For the paragraph I want to have line height of 21 pixel. So just save it and let's refresh. Okay, now looks better. And also, as you know that for after the paragraph we need to have margin bottom, so I want to have margin bottom of 15 pixel after each paragraph. Now save it and now let's refresh. Okay, looking great. I think there is little bit more spacing at the bottom. I want to reduce it a little bit so that it will look much better. So inspect your image, and on the right you can see the styles of that are applied. So instead of 20 pixel you can use arrow key, just click it and you can use arrow key to decrease the size and see the effect. Okay, there is no any effect because we have a single paragraph right here. Let's add one more paragraph on the top, and maybe let's increase its text like this, and let's refresh it. Okay, now again add a little more text, refresh it. Now you can see there is a lot more spacing. I can reduce this spacing by using my arrow key to test. Okay, maybe 16 pixel or maybe 15 pixel looks good to me. So I want to decrease the margin bottom of IMG thumb to maybe about 16 pixel, and if I refresh, okay, now this looks good to me. Maybe I can decrease the paragraph right here. Okay, maybe I can decrease some text right here. I want to remove that much text. Now let's see. Okay, it is looking great.